Let's try this one. Convert 0.0087 milliliters to liters. So what do we start with? So immediately write down what you start with. 0.0087 milliliter. Include that unit. That goes on top over 1. Or we can write our railroad tracks. Now what do we want? We want liters. So liters is what we should end up with, so put it there. Now the milliliters should go up here and then down here. And the liters should go up here. So we need to find a conversion factor with milliliters on the bottom and liters on top. Now we remember from the last one, there are 1,000 milliliters per 1 liter. So we'll just plug it in, 1,000 milliliters. If we multiply this across, and then which in a sense means just divided by 1,000, that becomes 0.000087. Now the fun part, we cancel out the milliliters, we're left with liters, so we have liters. But we don't want to leave it like that, we have to put it in scientific notation. Scientific notation, again, we have the point here after the first number. So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we went 6 to the right. We use a subtraction sign. Or some people might get confused about how many times they go over. Just count the number of turtles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 little turtles. We went to the left, so that's 8.7 times 10 to the minus 6 liters. Let's convert 1.5 times 10 to the 5th grams to pounds. So we'll write, and you guys should try this while I'm doing it. Try it, stop the tape, then come back and see how you did. 1.5 times 10 to the 5th grams. So that goes on top. Now there's different ways we can do it. We can do it with one conversion factor, or we can do it with a couple conversion factors. Let's just try it with one conversion factor right now. So we want grams on the bottom, and we want pounds on top. Because whatever we want, we put on top. We put 1 under here, and that equals pounds. So let's find a conversion factor that goes from pounds to grams. Gram, which is about the size of a paper clip, is 454 paper clips is 1 pound basically. So 454 grams is 1 pound. We'll put 1 pound up here and 454 down here. That's our conversion factor. Our grams cancel out. It's always fun to do that. We're left with pounds. So let's see what we get. Now we get 330.3964750, or that's 8. But we have 2 significant digits here. So we're going to use 2 sig figs in our final answer. So our final answer will be 330 pounds, 2 sig figs. Let's try this one. How many feet are in 32.4 centimeters? We start with what we're given. Put that over 1. To a railroad track, the centimeter will go on here. We want feet, and feet go here. Well, I'm going to do this a little differently because I don't exactly know the feet to centimeter conversion factor, but I do know feet to meters, and I do know centimeter to meter. So I'm going to make this a little different. That means I'm going to have to add a little more railroad tracks, and that's okay. We add as many as we want and as many as we can if we have valid conversion factors. So I know meter to centimeter. I know centimeter to meter, and I know meter to feet. So that means I'm going to put our railroad tracks with the conversion factors there. Meter to centimeter, and then meter to feet. And that's what we're going to come out with, feet. So I can put anything here on our conversion railroad tracks as long as it makes sense, as long as it's valid, and as long as the units cancel. So we can see up here the units should cancel. And then we will get feet. So let's find those conversion factors. I know they're 100 centimeters to 1 meter, and I know that there are 3.3 feet to 1 meter. So now all I have to do is plug them in the appropriate places. So here we have 100 centimeters to 1 meter, and over here we'll have 3.3 feet to 1 meter. So again, those units canceled out. We're left with feet. And now we'll just go ahead and multiply across 32.4 divided by 100, and then we multiply it because it's on top by 3.3. If it was on bottom, we would divide it, and we get 1.0692. But we're looking at sig figs. Now, what sig fig should we use? Should we use 3.3 or 100? Here there's just 2 sig figs. Here there's 1 sig fig. And here there are 3. Well, in conversion factors, we don't count sig figs. So remember that rule. We don't count sig figs from conversion factors, just from the measurements. So we have 3 sig figs that we're going to use. So the answer should have 3 sig figs. So that's 1, 2, sandwich 0, 3. So we're going to round up. We're going to have 1.07 feet. Should be our final answer. Now let's try converting 5.5 inches to miles. I lost my little calculator there. All right. So write down what we're given. 5.5 times 10 to the 5th inches. We'll put that over 1, make our little railroad tracks. Now, I think there's probably going to be more than one railroad track because there's going to be more than one conversion factor. So let's see how we can do this. I know that I can go from inch to feet, then to miles. So there's going to be a conversion factor here and a conversion factor there. So that means there's going to be 2 of those railroad conversion factors. And we'll get our answer here. So we go inches here and then inches to feet. So feet go here. And then we go feet to miles. Feet will go down here, and we end up with miles. That's what we want, miles. And I'm going to have to rewrite that. I'll write that down here at the end, miles. So what's our conversion factor? What's a conversion factor from inches to feet? Well, we should all know that. There's 12 inches to 1 foot. So we can put 12 here and 1 foot there. And now, how many of us know miles to feet? I don't know why I've always known this. 5,280 feet equals 1 mile. So that's 5,280 for 1 mile. Now, we have the fun part of canceling units. Let's take a pink one and just, well, let's do it with a pen. We'll cancel that. Inches cancel, the feet cancel, and we are left with miles. Now all we have to do is multiply and divide. So let's take 5.5. 5.5, a little tricky. We don't multiply it by 5,280. We divide it by, because it's on the bottom. And we divide it by 5280, and we get 8.6. I'm going to write everything out here. 8.680555556, etc. Now, how many sig figs? These are conversion factors, so it doesn't matter. There's 5.5 in our original measurement, so there are 2 sig figs. So we just have 8.7 miles. 2 sig figs. Now let's try one that's a little more complicated. We're going to convert 4.5 times 10 to the minus 5th years to seconds. Well, I don't know a conversion factor right. I think we all know how to get there. We can go from years to months or days. Let's go to days. To hours. To seconds. We can even do minutes to seconds just to throw something else in there. So that means we're going to need all these conversion factors. Let's put what we start with up here. 4.5 times 10. Get that out of the way. To the minus 5th years over 1. That's what we start with. So we want to go from years to days. So we need a conversion factor. We all know that there in 1 year there are 365 days. Then we go from a conversion factor here from days to hours. Days on the bottom, so it cancels out. Hours, what we want here. There are, in 1 day, there are, of course, 24 hours. Then from hours to minutes, 60 minutes in 1 hour. That's a conversion factor. So conversion factor. 1 hour, 60 minutes. And there's a conversion factor here, of course. There are 60 seconds in 1 minute. So we end up with what we want, seconds. We end up with a seconds. So let's see if that works. We cancel out the days, years, hours, minutes, left with seconds. Now all we have to do is plug the numbers in the calculator. Seconds. Now though there are 2 sig figs. The conversion numbers do not matter. 2 sig figs here. So that means, what are the sig figs going to be for this one? This might be tricky. There's only 2 sig figs, so that means it's going to be 1400 seconds.